Technology is moving at this insane pace, right? But have you ever stopped to think about the hidden cost of all that progress? That's what we're digging into today. We're exploring those moments, the scary ones, when our most advanced creations start to break free from our control with some really dangerous and unforeseen consequences.
And look, that's not just some dramatic line from a movie. It's a reality that's playing out right now in server rooms and in boardrooms all over the world. We're not talking about some distant sci-fi future. We are talking about real-world cases where the monster has already slipped its leash. The systems we all rely on every single day are being pushed to their absolute breaking point.
That's the big question, isn't it? What actually happens when the emergency brakes get removed, when the ethical guardrails are just dismantled, or when we slam headfirst into the fundamental laws of physics? We're going to break this whole thing down into 3 acts for you.
Okay, first up, we are facing a massive crisis of trust. This is all about how the safety in the digital systems we count on for our jobs, our money, our connection to the world is just eroding, and fast.
So, let's talk about something called a zero-day vulnerability. What is that? Well, think of it this way. It's like a thief has a master key to your house before the locksmith even knows the lock is broken. The good guys have literally 0 days to prepare a defense. And right now, hackers are actively using a massive one in Microsoft Windows and Office. This is not a simple glitch. It's a huge, coordinated cyber attack.
And here's the scary part. Look how simple it is on your end. All it takes is one innocent-looking click. That's it. The malware runs silently, completely invisible to your traditional antivirus software, and then it's in. It gives itself administrator privileges and takes total control of your entire system. The big takeaway here is crystal clear. Legacy antivirus software is not enough anymore. The only real defense is something called a zero-trust architecture, where you basically trust nothing by default, and every single connection has to prove it's legitimate.
Man, that quote is just perfect. It leads us right into our next crisis of trust. Let's talk about OpenAI. The company that has spent years telling everyone how they're the most responsible leader in AI? Well, they just made a move that looks exactly like dismantling the emergency brakes on that speeding bullet train.
Just look at the contrast on this slide. OpenAI's original mission was all about safety. They had an independent team that could literally hit the kill switch on a dangerous project. But now, that team is gone, disbanded, scattered into other parts of the company. There's no longer a central safety check, and it's all because of immense pressure to just ship products faster and faster. So, for all you developers out there, the message is pretty blunt. You're on your own. You can't rely on the model creators to keep things safe anymore. You have to build your own safety frameworks from the ground up.
And this crisis of trust, it isn't just about high-tech security or AI ethics. It's happening on our social platforms, too. Take a hypothetical app. We'll call it Upscrolled. To get that explosive viral growth, they program their algorithm with one main goal: maximize user engagement, no matter the cost. User safety barely even made the list. And as you can see, advertiser trust just fell through the floor.
Because what's one of the best drivers of engagement online? Outrage. The algorithm figured that out fast and started amplifying the most toxic, hateful content imaginable because it kept people glued to the screen. The result? Advertisers fled. The lesson here is a tough one for every startup. Trust and safety have to be baked in from day one. You can't just try and bolt them on later when your house is already on fire.
Okay, so let's move into our second act. This isn't just about ethics and code anymore. Now we're seeing even the world's biggest tech companies slamming right into the fundamental, unchangeable limits of physics and economics.
So, you ever wonder why that super smart AI-powered Siri is taking so long to show up? This table pretty much explains it all. Apple is obsessed with privacy, which means they want to process AI on your device, not in some random cloud server. And that's great. It's faster, it's way more secure. The problem? It's an epic battle against your phone's battery life and its physical ability to cool itself down.
This quote just says it all. Apple's ambition is hitting a brick wall called physical reality. Now, if you're a developer, the big takeaway is that this delay is actually a gift. It's a window of opportunity for you to get your own apps ready before Apple finally cracks this puzzle and the real on-device AI revolution finally gets here. Take a second and just look at this number. $42.4 billion. What in the world could cost that much? Well, that's the estimated price tag for a single 1 gigawatt AI data center in space.
Yeah, putting servers in orbit to get free solar energy sounds like a brilliant idea, but the economics are just crushing. In the vacuum of space, you can't use air to cool them.
Beaming the data back home is incredibly expensive. And what happens if a single graphics card fails? You literally have to launch a rocket to go fix it. So for investors, the takeaway is simple. Space AI is a dream for now. The real money is in making our data centers here on Earth way more power efficient.
And that brings us perfectly to our final act, the energy endgame. Now that we've hit these physical walls of power and cost, we're starting to see a radical, moonshot solution emerge to solve the most fundamental problem of all.
Let's be really clear about this. The entire AI revolution, everything from the cloud services we use to the phone in your pocket, it's all built on a foundation of massive and constantly increasing energy consumption. Our current power grids just cannot keep up with the exponential growth AI demands. We are hitting a global energy bottleneck.
But, and this is where it gets truly fascinating, there's an incredible feedback loop happening. The very same AI models that are starving for all this power are now being used to unlock the secrets of nuclear fusion, the ultimate energy source. They can simulate the incredibly complex physics of plasma in a tiny fraction of the time it used to take our biggest supercomputers.
And this isn't just a theory anymore. A startup just raised nearly $500 million to actually build a system that uses the world's most powerful lasers to ignite fusion reactions. They're basically creating miniature, contained suns on Earth. The goal is nothing less than commercial-grade, limitless, cheap, and clean energy.
This quote just perfectly captures the mind-blowing scale of what's happening. If this works, the cost of computing could drop to nearly zero. So, the strategic verdict for every IT director on the planet is this: start preparing for a future where computational limits are a thing of the past, because the energy deficit that has defined our world for a century might actually be about to end.
And that leaves us with one final, kind of haunting question. We started all this with the crisis of trust, with us, humanity, losing control of our own creations. Now we stand on the verge of giving those creations a limitless source of power. We are about to solve the problem of energy. But are we even remotely prepared for the problems that are going to come next?